Chapter 1. In the first week of July, on a sunny day, Jay was standing on the roof terrace of his house. He was close to the top of the stairs, where he could see his family in the open courtyard, as well as the villagers going through the lane. Kalu, who was going to school, raising his head up, asked, "Jay, when would you start going to school?" Jay made no reply and looked at his mother, who was standing on the ground floor precinct. Jay felt that it was time he started to go to school. He said to his mother, "Mom, I would also like to go to school with the children of our vicinity." His mother replied, "3 of your siblings are already at the center of learning. If you join them, you will need an academy for yourselves. Moreover, you are not yet 5 years old, and a child like you should be running after the village cattle and collecting cow dung." Next morning, Jay picked up a small bucket and went to the edge of the village, where the owners were leaving their cattle for the shepherds to take them for grazing. He collected about half a kilogram of dung and put it in his bucket. The cattle moved on to graze outside the village in the open fields. Jay could not follow them and returned home. He told his mother that the cattle ran fast. I could not go after them. NB. In Indian villages, cow dung was dried in the sun and used as fuel to cook food and boil water and milk. In the 1980s, however, biogas production started when dairy farming became popular, and a large amount of cow dung, or gobar as it is called in Hindi, could be collected at one place. It started to be used for gas extraction. Gobar gas is a renewable energy produced from organic waste like cow dung. Gobar is a clean, sustainable alternative to fossil fuels. It is also known as biogas. It provides clean fuel to households. Biogas can be used to produce electricity to power farm machinery. It is very safe and does not produce greenhouse gases. Biogas is produced through anaerobic digestion system, which breaks down the organic matter in an oxygen-deprived environment. It is an excellent source of energy. It was first started in India, but now it has become popular in many developing countries. Jay hardly ever went back to collect cow dung after that. His mother had a strong personality. She was tall and well-built. She used to wear a sari rather than a long skirt. Though she kept one for ceremonies, she had it made with 10 yards of cloth. It was big and heavy and in a beautiful color. She could control her children by speaking loudly. None of them questioned her, but she was also a caring lady. When Jay stopped going to collect cow dung, she did not say anything and understood his problem and interest. She was good at helping the villagers with money and often gave poor people old clothes and leftover food. She did not speak much in the presence of Jay's grandmother. After Jay's grandmother's death, his mother started money-lending business of her own. She used to charge an interest on loans and would ask them for some jewelry as a guarantee or collateral. She dealt only with women who used to come to her house to borrow money and later to pay interest or the whole amount. Often she allowed them to pay in monthly installments. Jay's sisters helped in domestic work, but he never saw them cooking or cleaning dishes or kitchenware. They wore kurta salwar, loose shirts, and baggy cotton patterned trousers. Always put a large scarf over their shoulders. His eldest sister liked embroidery and weaving sweaters by hand. Once she made a carpet at home and wrote Jay's elder brother Gautam's name on it. She used assorted colors of cotton thread. It turned out to be a beautiful carpet. Other sisters and brothers also helped in weaving the family carpet, which lasted a few years. The cotton thread for the carpet was spun by family members at home. Cotton was grown in Jay's village, and a large amount was used by households to spin thread. Only surplus cotton was sold in the town market. A great amount of cotton was used by residents in his village and in many other villages in the country. The cotton cloth was being manufactured in India for thousands of years. The raw cotton brought from farms was first dried in the sun by the farmers themselves. It was then sold to households. Jay's father bought raw cotton only for his own family use. Women in the village participated in working in the cotton cottage industry. The cotton and its seed were separated by a charki, wooden wheel. The cotton was then rolled by hand into puni, cotton ball. Charka, spinning wheel, was used to make thread. Takwa or spindle was attached to clay, which rested on a cowrie shell. Family members did all this work themselves. The cotton ball, puny, was held in the left hand, while the spindle was revolved by the right hand. The motion stretched the cotton wool into thread and rolled it around the capstan. As soon as a certain quantity of thread was twisted round the pivot, it was removed. The process commenced again. Jay saw his grandmother and mother spinning charka in the afternoons after lunch. He wanted to try to make thread and spin the charka, but he was not allowed to do so. However, he used to make puni with dried cotton. He loved watching the act of cotton thread, making and removing the cotton ball from the pin, takua. There were no weavers in his village. Weavers, however, used to come to his village from a nearby locality. They used to go around the village asking households if they had raw thread ready to sell. They would buy thread and take it to their village, wash it, and convert the thread into cloth. They would bring the ready-made cloth to Jay's village to sell in yards. Sometimes the weavers, would stitch the cloth into quilt or quilt covers. Raw cotton for quilt was spun by a dunka, bow-like instrument, to convert it into refined and clean cotton. It made the cotton smooth and easy to fill in a cloth conducive to making a quilt, which people needed in winter to keep them warm at night. When Jay stopped going to collect cow dung, he started to go to his grandfather's shop, where he learned numbers and timetable. He could recount timetable from 2 to 20 times 10, which he enjoyed. The 15th timetable he could enumerate within seconds, then laugh at his achievement. He also learned quarters, halves, 3/4, 1½ times, and 2½ times of figures, which increased his grasp over oral arithmetic. He wanted to learn 3¼ and 3½ times of figures up to 20. His grandfather, however, suggested to him, "You do not need it these days. You can work out all calculations and multiplication with your existing knowledge by using a slate." Papers were in short supply in his village. His grandfather did a great deal of calculation orally for his accounting. Jay's grandfather was a tall gentleman of about 6 feet. He used to wear dhoti, lion cloth, and kurta, loose shirt without collar. In the winter he wore white pajamas, trousers, and wrapped a shawl over his upper body. He also had a woolen coat, which he used to wear when he went out of the village. He wore a white turban in all seasons. He was very fond of riding horses. As a young man, he used to allow his horse to run and would jump on it as a sport. At the age of 14, he thought that he would go to university to study law and become a lawyer. After his father's death at an early age, he gave up his studies and decided to help his elder brother in the family business. After his marriage, he started his own shop in another village and moved to live there with his small family. His family had been traders and business people for at least 300 years. He was a kind man, always helped people in need. He often asked them, especially those who were strangers in the village, whether they have had food. He would take them to his house and provide them lunch, milk, or tea. Some persons were reluctant to go to his house where women and children lived. He used to leave his shop for a few minutes and bring meal from his house for those people. He never charged any money of them. There was no restaurant in the village. Jay's village did not have a post office of its own. A postman used to come to deliver post from the nearby town. He served 5 villages and traveled by bicycle. There were not substantial number of posts to be delivered in each village. When he could not go to individual houses to deliver post, he used to leave letters at Jay's grandfather's shop. His grandfather saw many customers from all the communities in the village. They used to collect their posts from his shop. The postal worker also delivered money orders because there were army pensioners in the village. Some villagers who had gone out to work in cities sent money to their parents and families. The mail carrier, however, was not allowed to deliver more than 100 rupees at a time. If there was a money order for more than 100 rupees, the recipients had to go to the main post office in the town to collect their money. The main post office was about 5 miles away from Jay's village. The postal worker had to be present at the time of payment in order to ensure that the right person received his or her money. Jay's grandfather liked the company of his family. He looked after his grandchildren well. The younger ones were taken to the well to be given a bath. He encouraged them to study and read books. He himself had read books and magazines. He knew all about the Indian epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. He had read the Ramayana many times over. His knowledge of the Indian epics and general knowledge was very vast. Still, he did not interfere with the grandchildren's homework, which they were encouraged to do themselves. He, however, used to teach them about social interaction, never to quarrel with anyone, always to live in cooperation and harmony with each other. People should not be jealous of others. He never compared himself with nearby people or relatives. He did not have any complexes and did not see others as inferior or superior to himself. He lived a peaceful and contented life and believed in the welfare of all. He hoped for their good health. He had a strong willpower. He converted his challenges into opportunities. The students and shopkeepers used slates to work out their calculations and accounts. Whenever a customer bought goods on credit, Jay's grandfather used to write it on a slate and not on a paper. These customers used to pay back the credit within a week. The barter system was more popular than the use of money in the village. As a child, Jay played guli danda with the boys in the village. Guli or gully is a small stick, and danda is a big stick. Guli is hit by the big stick, danda, and is thrown as far as possible. The other players had to catch it before it fell on the ground. His father encouraged him to play baseball. The guli danda stick could hurt the players or passers-by. Kabaddi was also a popular game in his village. Young children played as a team. The grown-up young men played separately. 2 opposing teams of 6 boys each were needed in this game. Kabaddi was like rugby in Western countries, but it was played without a ball. Jay had good relations with all the boys of his age group in the village. He used to participate in games with them and went out with them. In the spring season, there was a fair in another village. He went to see that fair with his friend rather than with the family. Jay and his friend returned to the village together. His friend's grandfather, however, did not like him going out of the village. There were only a few occasions when they went out of the village. In the village, however, they were often together and visited each other's house. His friend's parents were always polite to him. His friend received encouragement from him and took interest in his studies. Eventually, he became a primary school teacher. He did not study for a degree, which was essential to become a high school teacher. While Jay's grandfather looked after the shop, his father dealt with the other side of business. When Jay's dad went to city to buy groceries and other goods for the shop, Gautam used to stay at the shop with Grandpa to help him in attending the customers. He used to skip school. It created a gap in his learning. He was almost 15 years old when he completed his primary education, compared to most students who finished their primary schooling at the age of 11. He was quite old when he wanted to attend the secondary school. Other students were much younger than him. Jay was in year 2 of secondary school when Gautam was to be admitted in year 1. He refused to be in a lower grade than his brother, who was 4 years younger to him. With the result, he gave up his studies forever.